Hello again everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another speed build video in The Sims 4. Happy Monday. I hope you guys are having the most incredible start to your week, you know, as good as it's ever gonna get for a Monday. I don't know what time it is for you guys, it's roughly 7 PM for me as I am doing this voiceover and I've been working from home today. But I am very excited to show you guys this build. If you do follow me on Twitter, and if you don't, my @ is RachelPedd, just the same as it is on YouTube. But if you do follow me on Twitter, you may have already seen a little sneak peek of a work in progress shot of this house that we are currently working on here, which by the way only requires base game and the eco lifestyle pack, so it's pack restricted, and I'm going to start doing a lot more of these on the channel. So if you haven't already, please consider subscribing, and you will see, obviously, well, we're going to start doing more base game builds, we're going to start doing more pack restricted builds, we're just going to start broadening our horizons a little bit, because I know not everyone has all the packs and I tend to go in and just use a bunch of packs, and I realise by doing that my builds are then inaccessible to some people. So I want to start doing, as I said, more base game and pack restricted builds. So this is the first pack restricted build on the channel, if I am not mistaken, and as eco lifestyle is one of my all-time favourite packs for the build and buy items, it's pretty obvious why. If you've been around for a little while, you've probably already heard me talk about how amazing I think the items are in this pack, and I stand by that statement to this day, and I just thought it would be a great idea to incorporate that with a base game build as well. And so this is what we came up with. It's a family friendly eco house. It's got 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, and it's built in the amazing Evergreen Harbor, which is of course the world that came with the eco lifestyle pack, and we're building on, I think it's the Shipping Views lot in Evergreen Harbor, and I had such a fun time with this build. It's very fun, it's very quirky, it's very unique, and I'm really happy with how this came out. So if you guys do download this and use this in your game, please feel free to message me on Twitter or Instagram. I'm also on Instagram. I'm actually BeautifulPlumbobs on Instagram, as I am on Tumblr, you know, just to keep things a little bit, what's the word, complicated for you guys. So obviously I'm RachelPedd, but I'm also BeautifulPlumbobs because I've been BeautifulPlumbobs on Tumblr since I started my blog around 7 or 8 years ago now, and so I don't really feel like changing my name yet. It might be something I'll consider doing in the near future, but anyway, that's a different story for a different day. We're working on the exterior of this house, and as you can see, as I've just said, it's very quirky. I love it so much. It kind of reminds me of the cute family home that I built in Brindleton Bay around a week and a half ago. I will link that down in the description below if you'd like to check that out. I'd really appreciate it, obviously, if you haven't already. And if you have already seen that, you might be kind of seeing some similarities, kind of, I don't know, in terms of the quirkiness and the cuteness of it, and I'm just really thrilled with how this came out. I don't know what else I can say really, but yeah, we're just landscaping this house here, and you guys know how much I love landscaping. I tend to just go in and place a load of trees and a load of plants and flowers, and it might not look uniformed, but there is a thought process behind it. I don't want you guys thinking that I just sort of go in and like place things randomly. It's not really about that. It's, you know, I do think about what I'm doing when I'm doing this. It might not look like it because, you know, I go a bit slap happy sometimes with the landscaping, as I do with my clutter, but that's just my style, and I'll just keep doing that, you know, because it's me, it's who I am, and it's something I've been doing for a long time. And so I didn't envision, oh my gosh, I did not envision me running into any problems when it came to when I was furnishing or when I was building the outside of this house, because as I said, I've very recently done a base game only Generations house, which I will also link down in the description below. If you haven't seen that already, please consider checking that out. That's a pretty good one to watch. But that's the first video of a very long series of base game only builds, and it's actually my very good friend April, aka Miss Simrino, you guys probably know who she is. She's an absolutely incredible builder, and she's found on YouTube under Miss Simrina. But she does a lot of base game only builds, and she inspired me to do one for myself, and it's something that I want to do more of on the channel. So much so that I've had some channel art made for the base game only builds so that you guys can very easily see which ones are base game only. So essentially, when you go on my page, any house that's base game only will have base game on the thumbnail, and this particular one has the Eco Lifestyle logo. So what I thought was, when I'm doing pack restricted builds, I will put the relevant logos on the thumbnail. So if I do Parenthood and Seasons, I will put Parenthood and Seasons on the logo. Does that make sense? And so because we only use base game and Eco Lifestyle with this one, I just put the Eco Lifestyle icon on there just to make things a little bit more accessible to you guys, so that you can see what's what. So we are now working on the interior of the build, and as you can see, I put the kitchen dining space on this lovely raised platform with these stunning sliding doors that came with the Eco Lifestyle pack. I knew that I wanted to use these, and I knew that I wanted to use them in the kitchen because I think they just work so incredibly well, and I'm really happy with how this looks. It's not the biggest space because it's not the biggest house in the world. I'm actually quite surprised that I managed to fit 3 bedrooms in, if I'm being completely honest. So I'm gonna give myself a little pat on the back there for managing to squeeze 3 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms into this house, because I spent, and I'm not even joking, I think around half an hour trying to work out the floor plan, not for downstairs but for upstairs, and I was getting so annoyed. I had to come away this morning and then come back with a coffee and just clear my mind and think, right, okay, I'm doing something wrong here. And so I ended up coming back, and you'll see when we go up there, it's a little bit strange, you know, but I'm not going to spoil anything because, you know, you guys are going to see for yourselves in a few minutes when we end up going upstairs. And then I wanted to use these wooden beams. They're not beams, they're like these wooden structures that came with the Eco Lifestyle pack, just to enclose off the kitchen space a bit more. But then I realised when I was dropping down, it wasn't looking how I wanted it to look, and so I ended up just taking them out. I think I maybe should have kept them on the right hand side just so it spaces off. Spaces off, is that even a thing? So it, I don't know, what's the word? Sections off from the living space to the kitchen space. Anyway, but we ended up not doing that. And so then I realised that I hadn't put a chimney on this house, and I realised that the Eco Lifestyle pack came with this really cute chimney, and I was like, oh, okay, then I absolutely need to use that because it looks amazing. And I end up going back out onto the landscaping and adding these really cute little plants, and then I'm like, actually they don't look very good, and so I just delete them all. And then yeah, we move back onto the inside very quickly, and I love these candles from the debug menu on the Eco Lifestyle pack. I've used them in a couple of apartment speed builds recently. If you haven't sort of noticed, I've got a little bit of an obsession with these candles. I love and hate the fact that when you're playing they melt, so you have to keep replacing them. Obviously it adds a little bit of realism, but it's just annoying because I like the way they look when they're lit, and then obviously when they're melted they look all like gross because they're just a puddle of wax in the middle of your house. So anyway, I'm blabbering on about things that just aren't important, as per usual. And so I knew that I wanted to use this little table that came with the brand new update that featured some custom content creators and what they've created for the base game update. And so I knew I wanted to use that in this build because it came in so many different swatches that I just knew that it was an item that I wanted to use. And then I don't even really know what it is, but it's like this wooden structure that's above the TV there. That's from the Eco Lifestyle pack, and I just thought it looked really nice. And then, believe it or not, I've only used our new flower vase. If you are returning to the channel, then you know that I've started a little bit of a love affair with this. With these flowers in a vase because I am obsessed with them. I absolutely adore them, and we only end up using them once in this build, or is it twice? I think it's twice because I think we use them in the master bedroom as well, but they weren't really giving off the right vibe in this particular area of the house, and so I ended up changing it out just for a plant from the base game, because where else am I going to get it from? But yeah, and then I'm just trying to work out sort of color schemes, etc. in here. I knew I wanted to go with blue, and now I do end up changing the colors of the kitchen cabinets from green to blue, but I ended up doing it off camera because it was just something that I very quickly did before I uploaded it onto the gallery, because I was very quickly realizing that the kitchen, not that there's anything wrong with this, but the kitchen was very green and the living room was very blue, and so I thought, just to kind of tie them in a little bit better, I changed the colour of the cabinets to this really nice deep turquoise colour. But it's very minor. I didn't really feel the need to sort of record me doing that because it would have had to go on the end of the build, and at the end of the build, I'm going to pause for reaction here, but I actually end up doing something in the back garden, so you'll see me working on the back garden, which is something that I normally cut out of my builds because like they're always rubbish. So, and not that this one isn't terrible, because it's not great, but it's not terrible either. Anyway, you'll see, you will see near the end of the video what we end up doing with the back garden. But I'm very impressed with how this living space came out. I actually prefer the living space to the kitchen space, which is very unusual because it's normally the other way around, but I love how it looks. I knew, obviously, of course, I had to use a lot of plants because I do that in my builds anyway, but I think with an eco build in particular, I think the family that lives here would want to have a lot of plants, and I was even debating giving them a television or not, because obviously we did get televisions with the Eco Lifestyle pack, but I ended up just going for a base game one because the ones from the Eco Lifestyle pack, I'm going to stop saying Eco Lifestyle, I promise, are really small, and so I thought, actually, if a family of 4 live in this house, they're not all really going to be able to see the TV, so I end up just using a base game one. And now we're working on the entrance, and I'm using the air bunnies here, the entrance to the house, because it's not really an entrance, it's just obviously an open sort of way here. And then I was struggling, what rug do I use? And then I ended up spending far too much time on that. And now we are working on the upstairs of the build. So as you can see here, this is one of the bathrooms. This is the main bathroom, and then the master bedroom has an ensuite. And on the right hand side of this bathroom, believe it or not, is a child's room, which I know you're probably thinking, well, they're the same size, that's a little bit ridiculous. It is ridiculous, but because I'd placed those windows on the outside as I did, and I'm thinking now, I always do this when I'm watching my speed builds back, I always think, oh, I should have just done that. I could have replaced the windows to like singular vertical ones and just saved this problem. But it just adds to the character of the house, you know, it's a little bit quirky, it's different, anyway, I digress. So I ended up going for some really fun colours in this room because it is small, and so I wanted to try and make it as fun as I possibly could, because I was like, right, okay, well, if it's small, then it needs to be fun, right, you know? And so we end up going for like this turquoise and yellow theme, and I actually really like how this looks. And again, off camera at the end, I very quickly changed the curtain swatches from this white colour to yellow. So again, very minor, and I really didn't feel the need to add that into the speed build because it's such a minor thing. I didn't think you guys would be that interested in watching me do it. And I'm going to be honest, for the first time in a long time, I struggled with what to put on the walls in a kid's room. And in my base game only house, again, that is linked down in the description below if you'd like to check that out, I actually didn't struggle as much as I did in this room, but I'm assuming it's because it's small. And obviously it's very colour coordinated, or I tried to make it as colour coordinated as possible. You know, there were like little pops of pink here and there and everything, but yeah, I think with my other one it was a little bit more random, if I remember correctly, and so I felt like this one was a little bit more challenging in that I was trying to keep it more like matchy. And then this room here, you can pretty much put, it can be a teenager, it could be a child, it could be a young adult, like a student sim, or it could be an adult sim, it could be a guest bedroom, pretty much whatever you want to do here. I tried to keep the palette as neutral as possible. Obviously we've got a lot of greys and a lot of blues going on in here, but that does not mean anything, because obviously, if you haven't noticed already, the blue is kind of a running theme with the house, and that's because there are some blue swatches on the outside of the house, and I do try my best to incorporate exterior colours with interior colours, which might seem a bit strange because I don't know many people that do that in real life. I mean, like me, for example, obviously my house is just made of brick, so I don't know how we would incorporate like brick into the inside of the house, but our house has got like different colours in different rooms and things like that, so Anyway, so I actually really like how this bedroom came out. It's not a colour palette that I often play with, but I think it looks clean and crisp, and I'm really happy with this one. And then we move on to the master bedroom here, and then I do struggle a little bit. No, I'm lying. I struggle a lot with colour palettes in this room. I had absolutely no idea where I wanted to go with this, what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to use this bed because this is one of the most stunning beds that we have in this game. I think it looks really cozy and comfy, and I don't think I use it often enough because I think you have to have a certain type of house to have this bed, but that's probably wrong. I'm probably overthinking it because there is like a normal white swatch that you can use. But anyway, as you can see, I've used the flower vase in this room again, as I was explaining when we were downstairs. But yes, there's a lot of backwards and forwards with this room in particular. And again, if you are returning to the channel, then you already know that I struggle with master bedrooms in general. And I just think this was absolutely no exception. And so what I do like about this room is that there's a little balcony just off to the right there, and again using the sliding doors, the same ones that we used downstairs, again just to make it fluid and to keep some consistency going. But I do like the fact that there's a balcony outside, and I believe all we put out there really are some like planters and some chairs, just so that the Sims can maybe go out and have a relax. They can plant some trees or flowers or vegetables or some fruit, like whatever they want to do. And so yes, I thought that was quite a nice idea. And you will see me going back to the main bedroom very, very shortly, but currently we're working on the ensuite, which is a very long, thin room, which isn't ideal, I'm going to be honest. But you know, again, with the shape of the house, the size of the house, and the floor plan that I was trying to go for, it's not perfect because I'm not great at doing floor plans on my best day. There are some houses where I think, yes, I've nailed the floor plan there, but most of my houses are very oddly shaped, and that's reflected in the floor plan, and this is no difference. But you know, it's all right because I think it just adds to the character of this house, because I feel like this house is potentially, it's been built and then they've added an extension onto the left hand side of it, which is obviously in the main bathroom and the kids room. That's the extension of the house, so they've just changed everything inside to try and make it work. So that's what I'm going with. That's the story I'm going with this house. It's not because I'm terrible at floor plans, even though I absolutely am. That is the story that I'm sticking with, so take from that what you will. But there's nothing really that interesting going on in this room in particular. It's just, I mean, because it's so long and slim, I was debating whether or not to put a bath in here, but then I ended up just coming away from that idea. I don't really know why. Obviously you have to remember, because it's an eco house, obviously when you have I've heard this, I don't know how true this is, when you have a bath you use more water than you do when you have a shower. How true? I've no idea if that's even true at all. I'm thinking in my head now that might not be. Anyway, that was the thought process. The thought process was they wouldn't have a bath because they're trying to save the environment. That's why they're living in this house. Anyway, so like I said, I did end up keeping in the balcony speed build and the back garden speed build in this house, which is very unusual for me. I don't normally do this, but I just decided to keep this in this time. Normally I'd cut this right off because I don't think anyone would be that interested, because this is not my strong suit. You know, outside of builds is definitely not my strong suit. I know I keep saying it, but I definitely want to start working on this because I want my builds to be good inside and out, and at the minute I just feel like they're good at the front, they're good on the inside, and then at the back it's just completely let down. But anyway, so we're just working on the back garden here. Nothing too interesting going on, but that pretty much wraps up the speed build. So I will leave you guys to watch the rest of it, but you can download this house from the gallery. My origin ID is RachelPedd. Tray files, as always, are linked down in the description below if you'd like to download them from Sim File Share. But as I said, if you have enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and please consider subscribing. But you guys take care, and I will see you next time. Bye!